Hey guys, what's up? So you're on a GLP, you're losing weight, but something feels off. Maybe the scale has stalled, maybe you feel softer instead of leaner, or maybe you're doing everything right, but the fat just isn't coming off the way you expected, and no one is telling you why. Here's the truth. GLP-1s are so powerful. However, they do not guarantee fat loss, and they don't protect muscle unless you do the right things outside of the medication. Most people never learn this, and they end up losing a lot of weight in a way that makes maintenance that much harder. So today I'm going to break down 8 fat burning habits that changed everything for me. The same habits that helped me lose 50 pounds and keep it off for over 2.5 years. If your results have slowed down or you feel like you're just missing that one little piece of something is just missing from that puzzle, this video is for you. This is the one you've been waiting for. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jules, and if you're new here, welcome. I have been on a GLP-1 for over 3 years now. I started in September of 2022, lost over 50 pounds, gained muscle, strength, been maintaining my weight loss since May of 2023, so over 2.5 years, and I am 54 years old. I am 5'1". I am a mom of 4, 3 adult kids. I'm married, full-time corporate, 9 to 5, not really, more than that, job. I do this as my passion. This is where I really want to share everything about what I finally learned about GLP-1s, weight loss, appetite, satiety, fitness, muscle building, maintenance, the thing that's always been so elusive, how to make this all work finally and not be on that roller coaster of dieting up and down that we've all probably done before. And through all of this, how to do it in a way that is joyful and that really genuinely feels sustainable. So today I'm going to break down 8 of the absolute best fat burning tips that work the best when you're on a GLP-1, or if you're not on GLP-1, they still work, but they work even better when paired with a GLP-1 like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, or Zepbound. These are the habits that I use that really made the biggest difference in losing weight, losing body fat, transforming my body composition. And they're the same habits that I still do to this day that help me to maintain this weight loss in a very, very sustainable way, and it's very relatively easy to adhere to. So if you're feeling frustrated with a plateau, or you're just confused by so much conflicting information out there that's online, or you're getting from a medical doctor or a practitioner who's not an expert, or they've never been through this before, or they've never been on a GLP-1 and they're just not getting it, the weight loss, if it's slowed down or you're just having questions or whatnot on what to expect, these 8 tips will help you to get back on track and stay there. All right, let's dive into it. Number 1, focus on fat loss, not just weight loss. So one of the biggest misunderstandings that I see in the GLP-1 community is believing that the medication automatically produces fat loss. GLP-1s regulate appetite, they reduce hunger, lower insulin, quiet the food noise, and those are powerful metabolic advantages. But the medication itself does not determine where the weight loss is coming from. You can still lose muscle if you're not intentional. So when I first started, I didn't 100% understand the difference between losing weight, losing fats. I was so focused on the scale. I wasn't really looking at body composition, kind of ignored it. When I finally really started looking at changing my body composition, I really started focusing on what my body looked like, not just the scale. That was when I took my first DEXA scan. And that is what really showed me blaringly, okay, here's your body fat percentage, here's your lean muscle, here's your bone density. And I really was able to not focus as much on the scale. I focus on the scale, I'll admit, but not as much. It really helped me to get away from just scale weight. So here, the research shows that without adequate protein and resistance training, you can lose as much as 30 to 40% of the weight will come from muscle, from lean muscle. Now, keep in mind, it's not just pure muscle. You're losing cellular fluids and different like skin and different things. So all of that adds up to muscle, and it's called lean muscle, but it's not all lean muscle. There's a lot of extra things that you're losing along with that. So, and some of it's okay. I mean, somebody who is, 300 or 400 or 500 pounds, you're better off losing a good amount of weight, even if you're losing some lean muscle mass, getting to a better weight, and then where you're more comfortable to then focus on muscle building at that point, then to do it. But it can't be ignored. That's the bottom line. At some point in your journey, whether it's right from the get-go or when you're feeling more comfortable, it cannot be ignored. It definitely needs to be addressed. So losing the muscle over time, if you're going to lose too much of it and not do anything about it, it will create a place where it's hard to maintain your weight when you get there. You're going to look very soft. You're not going to have the muscles, right? You're going to be kind of soft and squishy. Your metabolism isn't going to be as high. Your insulin sensitivity won't be as good. You're not going to have as much energy. You're just going to feel blah, So there's so many benefits to it, and there's a lot of actual detriments. And you're not going to know how good you can feel until you start actually doing some resistance training, because you only feel what you feel. And if you're feeling kind of you don't know that you could feel freaking amazing, like full of energy. Every day, I am just bouncing off the wall with energy all day long. And that's mental and physical energy. So what matters is that, yes, anyone can lose weight, but the goal is to lose the fat while protecting as much muscle as possible. And this combination really works very well by consistent calories paired with enough protein and strength training. So when you focus on the fat loss, instead of just chasing the lowest number on the scale, yes, that was me, I did that, guilty, everything will change for the better. Tip number 2, prioritize protein every single day and every single meal or snack. Everything you put in your mouth, protein first. This is the number one habit that changed my whole journey. When you start a GLP-1, your appetite goes down. You eat less overall, including less protein. The average woman eats like 30 or 40 grams of protein a day. That's just so low. It is so not sufficient. This will put you at risk of losing muscle, especially in midlife. So as we hit midlife, we will naturally not be able to absorb as much protein as we were when we're younger. So that means we have to actually eat more protein than when we were younger because we don't absorb it as well. So in the beginning for me, I was definitely not eating sufficient protein. I wasn't tracking. I started tracking about 4 to 6 weeks into my journey. So I wasn't really tracking. I didn't know. I just didn't have that awareness. I was tired. I wasn't recovering as well from workouts. And then once I raised my protein and I started actually tracking, I was shooting for 100 to 120 grams of protein a day. Everything improved. My strength increased. My hunger, even on a GLP-1, my hunger just regulated better. It's just stayed more consistent. And my body composition started to change. And my fat loss became easier, became more predictable. So the protein has research behind it. Higher protein intake helps muscle preservation. It helps with the fat loss during your weight loss journey. It increases thermogenesis. That means your body burns more calories digesting the protein than it does carbs or fat. If the blood sugar is all over the place, as most of us kind of are before these GLP-1s, yes, the GLP-1 helps to stabilize it. The protein does as well, very much so. It reduces cravings, it boosts satiety, and it supports your muscle recovery. So all the research indicates that you should aim for about 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. Not your current weight, but the weight that you're shooting to. Which means if you are targeting, let's say, a body weight of 130 pounds, 130 grams of protein is your target. Yes, I know that can sound like a lot of protein, but if you prioritize it and you consume the protein first before anything else, I promise you, you can get it in and you're gonna feel so much better. So what does that look like? It looks like consuming protein throughout the day. So I would shoot for 30, even 40 grams of protein per meal and snack. That will ensure that you get the right protein in. Focus on whole protein sources. These are things that I love to eat. Salmon, chicken breast or thighs, ground beef, lean cuts of beef. That could be different steaks or lean ground beef, hamburger meat, things of that nature. Eggs. I have eggs every single day. And my omelet is my go-to thing for lunch. That's what I eat on repeat. Tons of vegetables with my eggs and cottage cheese. Combined together, eggs and cottage cheese, tons of protein in there. And I will eat the full fat cottage cheese. None of that low fat crap for me. I want the full fat because we need the fat too. We don't want to just get in protein and carbs. We want some good fats in us. It's good for our hormones. It's good. It's really good for keeping healthy and keeping everything in balance. What else? Turkey. That's another one. Turkey is actually really good. Tuna, different fishes. Tofu also has some good protein in it. If you're using protein bars, which I do occasionally, I don't make it something that I do every day or frequently, but I will have a protein bar. Just make sure you're choosing really clean ingredients, really good quality protein bars. My personal favorite after trying a whole bunch of them are the Julian Bakery protein bars, and the description and the website, whatever, is in the description box with a code. You can use code Juls if you want. Go check it out, see if you like them. They come in 3 flavors. They have other products as well. I use their monk fruit as well. But I love the protein bars because they're all natural, clean ingredients. Monk fruit is what sweetens them up. High fiber, low calories, high protein. It's kind of everything you want in a bar. And it tastes really good too. So I'm not gonna eat something that doesn't taste good. Satisfies if I have a sweet craving, and it's very filling. You eat one of those, you drink a little water with it, it keeps you really full. Okay, tip number 3, strength train 3 times a week. Minimum 2, but really shoot for 3 if you can. That really will keep your muscles there. Strength training is the habit that completely transformed my physique in my 50s. When I began lifting consistently, now I've always been an athlete, I've always done something my entire life, but it hasn't always been consistent. And obviously we all have those times in life that gets crazy and we get away from it for whatever the reasons. I've had that too. There were periods of time or months of time when I wasn't really doing much, or was just crazy consumed with just being a mom and doing all the things with the kids and all of their activities. And I didn't put myself up there and I didn't prioritize myself. But that's so important. It's really important to prioritize yourself. So try and get in at least 3 resistance training or lifting sessions a week. When I finally started doing that and I then became stronger, it got me leaner. I became more capable really in every way. It's improved my posture, my relationships, my marriage, just my internal well-being, my confidence. It's really improved my insulin sensitivity. It's made maintaining my weight so much easier. And just being able to wake up and like who I look like every day and go, wow, like that's me. I still think that. I still look in the mirror and I'm like, I can't believe that's me, because I'm so used to not looking at this person, of looking at a bigger body or a softer body for many, many, many years, that it still takes me by surprise. Literally, I'm still like, when I catch myself in a mirror, a picture, a video, I'm like, that's me. And and I'm still flabbergasted. So the things that I go to in terms of my lifts, these are my go-to things. They're simple. I work out at home. I don't go to a gym. I've been working out exclusively from home, dumbbells and a pull-up bar. That's it. You don't need anything crazy. If you have crazy stuff and equipment and all the rest of it, great, even better. You can be more creative and you can just, make it maybe a little even more fun and interesting by using different things. But my go-tos are Romanian deadlifts, lunges, squats, rows, obviously pull-ups. I'm a pull-up queen. I love doing my pull-ups. Glute bridges, push-ups, that's another biggie. Push-ups, again, that's just body weight. Overhead presses. So these are really the basic compound movements that will shape your body, your entire body. The science is really clear on that too. Resistance training preserves muscle during weight loss. It improves the metabolic rate, increases your insulin sensitivity, and it ensures that when you lose weight, you are losing body fat rather than muscle. The medication will reduce your appetite, keep you in a caloric deficit. Strength training will send the message to your body that your muscle is needed. Without the signal, the body will happily use your muscle as energy, because if it doesn't get the signal, it won't preserve it. It'll go, we don't need this. If you're not using it, you're gonna lose it. And that is why so many people will unknowingly fall into this area of losing weight, which will encompass a lot of muscle. So again, aim for 3 days a week, focus on progressive overload, meaning the weight gets a little heavier over time. Be consistent. You will not bulk up, I promise you. Look at me, I lift heavy 5 days a week. I eat, and I'm not like some big, massive, crazy person with too much muscle. I'm stronger, I'm leaner, and that's exactly what you're gonna get. You're gonna get stronger, leaner, tighter, and more sculpted. Strength training is your lifelong insurance policy, especially in midlife. Okay, tip number 4, walk every day to increase your fat burning. Yes, every single day you can walk. You can get that movement in. Walking became my secret weapon. I have walked my entire way through the 50-pound weight loss and maintenance. It is an integral part of what I do today. It is an integral part of my lifestyle at this point. 7 days a week, I aim for 10,000 steps a day. I most often wear my weighted vest. I use an incline. If I'm on my treadmill and I'm not outside, I will use the incline to vary up the resistance that way. Walking increases your calorie burn without increasing your hunger. And it strengthens your heart. It will improve your digestion. It lowers your cortisol levels. It stabilizes blood sugar, and it is accessible to everyone. And it doesn't matter what your fitness level is. Anyone can walk. The research shows that walking daily significantly improves your insulin sensitivity. It increases your fat oxidation. It increases your NEAT calories, which is your daily activity that's outside of your formal or planned exercise. And it can account for hundreds of additional calories that get burned every single day. So that alone could break a plateau. So if you want to elevate your metabolism, walk more. Try adding an incline. Throw on a weighted vest. But even just simply walking, steadily, consistently, this can be one of the most powerful fat loss tools that you could pair with a GLP-1. This habit has carried me through every phase of my journey, and it has helped me to lower my stress levels. It helps me to mentally feel better, and I love just moving my body every day. I'm like addicted to it. I love it. Tip number 5, reduce added sugar and ultra-processed foods. This one might feel a little uncomfortable for some people. I get it, but I need to say it here because the truth is a GLP-1 does not give us permission to continue eating the same highly processed foods that contributed to the metabolic dysfunction in the first place. Before my journey, I had a nightly sugar habit for years, decades actually. Every night after dinner, I needed a sweet. I had to have dessert. I was that person. Every night, pretty much of my entire life up until 3 years ago. This habit drove my cravings. It increased my insulin resistance. It contributed to emotional eating. Once the medication came in, once that GLP just came into my body, it quieted that food noise. And I finally had the space to break that habit. I wanted to break the habit, but it was so hard. It felt impossible to actually break it long term or potentially indefinitely. But the GLP-1 really helped me move the needle. It was life-changing. Ultra-processed foods, they can overwhelm our appetite regulation. They spike insulin. They increase cravings even on a GLP-1. And they slow fat loss. They make maintenance so much harder. There is a study that shows that when people unconsciously eat 500 calories a day, when eating ultra-processed foods compared to whole foods, even when the meals are matched for calories, protein, and fat, they're eating in excess more calories, and their body is storing it as fat versus partitioning it into the muscle or into energy. That is how powerful whole foods are and how powerful ultra-processed foods are. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to completely eliminate everything forever. That's overwhelming. It was overwhelming for me. I've never even said I will never have this again. And I advise not to say that because you'll probably just rebel against it. I know I would. Like a child, I'd be like, you can't tell me that. Don't say never. So I never say never to myself. These are all choices that you make as an adult. But by reducing the added sugar, the sweets, the baked goods, the chips, the fried foods, the sugary coffee drinks, it will increase your ability for fat loss dramatically. Whole foods will always make this journey so much easier for you. So really build your meals around lean proteins, vegetables, fruit, really good complex carbohydrates, which include rice and potatoes and oats, quinoa, eggs, fish, yogurt, beans, real whole foods, things that you get out of the ground, not things that need a barcode to be scanned. That will support your fat loss. Okay, tip number 6, hydrate more than you think you need. Most people on a GLP-1 are dehydrated and they don't even know it, because the GLP-1, it slows digestion and it reduces your appetite, but it also reduces your thirst. And this is when hydration matters even more. Hydration will improve your digestion. It will help to reduce constipation and diarrhea. It increases energy, reduces cravings, regulates appetite. You can see how hydration is that important. Some people will be like, I don't like water. I have a hard time drinking. How do you drink enough water? And I'm like, you just make yourself. Be an adult and just drink your water. I mean, I guzzle my water. I'm not a water sipper. I will drink water at meals when I'm thirsty, but for me to get my water in, I'll just guzzle some in the morning. I have one video out there on what I eat in a day, and I start off on my mornings, and you'll see me, I guzzle down like 25, 30 ounces of water first thing in the morning, and I will make sure that I get the rest of my water in during the day after that. Coffee and tea still count as hydration, as long as you're not, going way overboard with the caffeine. But as long as you're keeping it, within a relatively, normal amount for you, it does still count for hydration. It will also increase your metabolic rate. Studies have shown that drinking water has increased metabolism by 30% within 30 to 40 minutes. So personally, I shoot for like 80 to 100 ounces of water. I used to track it to make sure that I was getting in enough. Now I just do it by habit, so I don't need to track it. I don't have an app anymore, but if you need to track it to make yourself accountable, that's another idea. There's free apps out there, just download it. Every time you drink something, 8 ounces, 10 ounces, whatever, you throw it in your app and you're keeping yourself accountable. Also, hydration will help with nausea. If you're not hydrated enough, you can get more nauseous. It really sets up my appetite regulation for the whole day. And then add in electrolytes or a pinch of salt, because many people, if you're not getting in processed foods, which are have a high amount of sodium, you may become electrolyte or sodium deficiency, especially if you're working out and sweating or you're in a hot climate. And so I know that once I started getting some more electrolytes and some more salt, I really felt the difference with my energy levels. And it can also help to quiet the appetite a little bit. I'll do a little pinch of salt in the morning, and that kind of quiets down my appetite if I'm getting really hungry. And these are little things that sometimes get overlooked when you're looking to move the needle, when you're getting that, stuck, or you have a plateau or a stall. Okay, number 7, get your sleep right. That's right. Sleep is one of the most underrated fat burning tools. When I started to prioritize my sleep, everything in my journey improved. My cravings went down, my hunger was stabilized, energy increased, strength training improved, fat loss accelerated. I personally go to bed somewhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock at night. My room is cool, it's dark, I don't have any screens on in my room. And in fact, I even put my phone, I started this habit maybe a year ago, I put my phone in my bathroom. It used to be on my nightstand, But that made me just look at my phone right before bed and first thing in the morning. And I didn't want to do that, and it was such a habit. So I started putting my phone in the bathroom. I could still hear it if it went off or one of the kids were calling or there was an emergency or whatnot. But I put it there, and now I'm not looking at it at the end of the night, and it's not something that I look at first thing in the morning. And it's been beautiful. Highly suggest doing that if you are one of those people where you're like, addicted to your phone first thing and last thing at night. And I get probably about 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, according to my Garmin watch. Actually, last night I got 8.5 hours because I guess I needed it, and I didn't set my alarm. I just slept to whenever, which is very unusual, but I feel amazing today, so I'm really glad I didn't set an alarm. And then the other thing that sleep does, it also helps to keep your cortisol lower, so it doesn't have those spikes, because just one night of bad sleep will increase your insulin resistance, it'll spike your cortisol, it increases your appetite, the ghrelin, all the stuff you don't want. And even if you're having a GLP-1, if you get really bad night's sleep, it could counteract what the GLP-1 is doing. There have been studies where people who sleep less than 5 hours during a weight loss phase actually will lose more muscle and less fat than the people who are getting the right amount of sleep. Those people will lose more fat. So there's another reason to get your sleep. It also helps for muscle recovery. That is the time when, after you do your resistance training, your strength training, your muscle starts to build and you recover during that time and you won't be as sore. Sleep will also protect your hormones. It protects your metabolism. It stabilizes just everything, and it will support you emotionally. So you'll have more emotional regulation. Your moods will just be smoother. You're not going to have up and down to your moods, less anxiety. We all need sleep. So aim for 7 to 8, even 9. Some people need 9 hours of sleep every single night. Prioritize sleep like it is your job, because it is. And the last tip number 8, stay consistent with your medication and use the dose that works best for you. This is one of the most important and misunderstood topics in the entire GLP-1 community. There is a lot of shame and judgment and misinformation around dosing. And I hear people talk about this all the time because there's so much pressure for some reason to lower your dose or come off the medication. And this can be really harmful for people because this just simply is not supported by science. Your maintenance dose, when you reach maintenance, is a personal decision, and the dose that you need is so individualized because it's based off of how you feel and what you're doing and how it's making your appetite and satiety. So what I always tell people, the dose to maintain your weight is one where you don't have to overthink it. You can maintain your weight. You're not going to have crazy appetite. You will feel full. You're not going to have to put so much intention and so much emotion and time into maintaining your weight. Yeah, you got to have intention. Yes, you have to think about it and do all the things, but you're not going to have to use so much of your energy to do it. You're not going to have to obsess over it. It's going to leave room for you to live your life. So personally, for me, I have been able to maintain on a dose of 12.5 milligrams of Zepbound every week. I take it every 7 days. There are some days when I might take it 6 days and others that I might stretch it out to 8. But for the most part, every 7 days, that is my protocol because that's the dose that works with my biology. It's what my body needs. It's what keeps the food noise down. It's what keeps my appetite predictable. It keeps my weight stable. It allows me to maintain without constantly thinking or obsessing about food. In the clinical trials, they looked at 5, 10, and 15 milligrams of tirzepatide for maintenance. And every one of those doses is valid. There's no gold medal in going to the lowest dose or going off a dose. What matters is keeping you stable. And in fact, in the SURMOUNT-4 trial, people who came off the medication regained the majority of their weight. People who stayed on, they maintained their results. This is the current evidence. Do not let shame or judgment, pressure, or try to convince you to change what is working for you. So to summarize, these 8 habits have helped me lose 50 pounds and to keep it off for over 2 years. It has rebuilt my metabolism, reversed my insulin resistance, PCOS. It's helped me to build muscle, regulate my appetite, create the healthiest, strongest version of myself in midlife. GLP-1s are not the whole situation, but they are a tool. They are an amazing tool. And these habits, this lifestyle is now my foundation. When you pair the medication with strength training, high protein, hydration, whole foods, walking, sleep, the right dose, the results are not just faster, but they're sustainable. And you deserve a life where you feel strong, confident, and in control. And these habits will get you there. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And more people who are on a GLP-1 or even thinking about it can find the video. And if you know someone that needs support, maybe share the video with them as well. And if you're new here, please do subscribe. I try to put out 1 or 2 videos every week on GLP-1s, fat loss, maintenance, nutrition, mindset, strength training, metabolic health. And we are trying to just build a stronger community over here. And I'm trying to help support anyone that's on their journey to feel not alone in their journey. I will see you in the next video. Stay strong.